DeMar DeRozan has officially spoke out on his preferred destinations if he is to be traded from the Chicago Bulls. The former All-Star has come out and said that he is willing to stay with the Bulls and is happy there, and now suddenly he comes out with preferred destinations. What's going on in Chicago? We're going to talk about all of this surrounding DeMar in this episode of Bulls Digest. I'm your host, Joey Mercer, and before we get into it today, I just want to say that about 95% of you are not subscribed. So if you're looking for daily Chicago Bulls content, or you're one of the ones that watch this each and every single day but aren't subbed to the channel, make sure to go down below, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the bell for notifications, and you will no longer have to search for this content. It'll be right there for you. As we get these stories, we will be delivering them to you, and I hope that you all enjoy this episode. Without further ado, let's start off with the first topic of the day, and that would be DeRozan's preferred locations. We're going to hop right into it. We're not going to beat around the bush with this here today. DeRozan has come out and finally spoke out and said where he would like to go if a trade is to happen. It seems like that is more likely now with how things have been going lately, and a lot of things seem to be stirred within the organization after their big overtime win against the Milwaukee Bucks, with DeMar DeRozan and Zach Lavine out of the lineup. The first thing I saw in a Sports Illustrated article of it was, the struggling Bulls might have to set their sights on the 2024 NBA trade deadline sooner than intended. Chicago, which is 6-14, likely will have plenty of trade suitors for six-time All-Star DeMar DeRozan, who is averaging 21 points this season and can become an unrestricted free agent next summer. If the Bulls do trade DeRozan, the 34-year-old reportedly prefers to be moved to the Heat or Knicks, per The Athletic's Sam Amick. So interesting enough to see there, it is a kind of fringe contending teams he wants to go to. The Heat have been up and down, but obviously made the finals last year, and have had hot starts and hot pockets of time where they've looked like a really good contending team. And then the Knicks are kind of a team that nobody takes too seriously, but are definitely just outside of being a solid playoff team. And with the addition of DeMar DeRozan, could definitely be a better team than they are right now, depending on what they had to give up, of course. What would we even get back for them is something that I would have to question on both sides of it for DeMar, and we'd have to see which one would have the best trade package, as that is obviously the teams that he has come out and said he wants to join. Next thing I saw in the article was that both Miami and New York are currently in the top 6 of the Eastern Conference and plan to be competing for a playoff spot when the trade deadline rolls around in February. So it's not just necessarily contenders, but teams looking to contend for a playoff spot. The Heat and Knicks seem to be teams that you would think are going to be in the playoffs this year, but it has been such an unpredictable NBA season so far that we don't know where players are going to be, nor teams are going to be at the deadline, for that matter. Now, the next thing that I saw in the article was a little bit interesting, and it came from the NBC Sports Boston, actually, after this part, was DeRozan is among a couple of intriguing trade options for the Bulls to consider, as the team also might look to deal guards Lavine and Caruso. Chicago reportedly wants to trade Lavine before making a deal involving DeRozan or Caruso, per NBC Sports Chicago's KC Johnson. But Lavine's hefty contract that runs through the 2026-27 season might prove difficult to move. So that's been the biggest issue here, is it seems like the team wants to move Lavine before they move anybody else, because they want to see how the team looks after Zach Lavine. So it would be beneficial if the team were to trade Zach Lavine right now and then move the players after they have a sample size of a new roster. I'm not sure how DeMar is going to feel if Lavine's not there, or how he is going to perform overall, but it might even be better where you would think at least, get more shots without Lavine on the team. So that would be very interesting to see nonetheless. Second topic we're going to talk about today is teaming up with LeBron. Yes, there is speculation actually in that NBC article I spoke that we're going to talk about, saying that DeMar has actually spoke with LeBron on this. Not to say the Lakers are necessarily interested with DeRozan, but there have been lots of rumblings around the league, speaking of DeRozan joining the Lakers, and that was before even Lavine joining the Lakers. We hadn't talked too much about that here on Bulls Digest, but it is something to keep an eye on for sure, as it isn't the first time that LeBron has talked about wanting players to join his team, and then it happens at the trade deadline. So without, getting too much into that with former trades, let's see what LeBron had said and what they had spoke about. And it said the Lakers are said to be interested in DeRozan as well, which Amick notes shouldn't be a surprise considering LeBron James and DeRozan had talked before Lakers pivoted to trade for Russell Westbrook. So it's been that long that they've been speaking of this. It would have been next to impossible for the Lakers to acquire DeRozan at the time, but there was interest. Lots of trades and trade rumors go through the Los Angeles Lakers, and especially teams that LeBron James is on. We have to think that back in the 2017-18 season, and that last hoorah for the Cleveland Cavaliers, where LeBron basically went to management and they had this team to start out the season, and it had Rose, Wade, Isaiah Thomas. It was really just misfit, you know? It was a group of misfit toys, so to speak, as the team really didn't mesh well together, and it was soon found out that they needed to move on to other things, maybe better for some of them. Now, all these moves happened in the trade deadline around there, just before, wherever it was around that time span, just before so. And then afterwards, they made the finals once again. But that was definitely, in my opinion, the worst Cleveland Cavaliers team with LeBron on it that since he joined back after going to the Miami Heat and forming the Big Three there. However, this wouldn't be a shocker if the Lakers were to be buyers at the deadline and also sellers in that matter and see what they could do there. The cap space doesn't work out too much, but if they were to move around a few pieces that they signed in the offseason, like Rui or D'Angelo Russell, then they would have some cap space to move some things around, and they might be able to acquire DeMar DeRozan or Lavine, or if they were to move around enough, potentially both. Now, they would have to do a lot of moves and maybe take on some more luxury tax in that sense, but it isn't completely impossible for a move like that to happen. I just think it's very highly unlikely, as DeMar has said that he wants to go to either the Knicks or the Heat, and that seems like a more plausible situation right now for DeMar to go to. Next thing I saw, and the last thing I saw in this article, was with Lavine making $28.6 million this season, no trade is going to be easy to pull off. The Bulls are going to have to take back salary, and if they are starting a rebuild, they will want picks and good young players. Maybe Emmanuel Quickley from New York, or Austin Reeves from the Lakers, which we've talked about already with Reeves. And however, for any trade to happen, it would require the Bulls to engage on that front, and right now they are more focused on a possible Lavine trade, which doesn't seem to be coming together anytime soon. Still, it's something to watch. We'll have to see what happens if the Bulls are going to fold and essentially take, pennies on the dollar for Zach LaVine, or maybe just 50 cents on the dollar. They might eventually have to say, you know what, it'll be better just to get something for this guy instead of nothing at all, or instead of just having him on the team, and things being at a negative focal point around the team with him there. It's interesting to see what the front office is going to do, and we will keep you up to date with all of those moves now in the next coming days. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. It's been your host, Joey Mercer. Make sure to go down below, like the video, comment on the video, and tell me what you liked about it. Tell me your takes on things. Love to hear it all from you out there. And make sure to go down below, as I mentioned at the top, subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications by hitting that bell button there. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Signing off.